I should be like you, Mel.
Ultimate on-demand destination for the UK's best fan-led football podcasts.
Want authentic supporter insight on all things Bournemouth? Follow Up the Cherries in all departments on the TalkSport Fan Network.
Club-dedicated content created by the fans, for the fans.
Search TalkSport Fan Network.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever in the world you are watching. Hello and welcome back to Monday's Cherry AM. And with me today, I have got Mr. Sion Ray. How you doing, Sean? You all right?
Yeah, not too bad. Good weekend. Obviously, men going for Champions League, women keep on going. A quick shout out to Southampton and Portsmouth fans. I know they was excited for the game and that. One shot on target each, so commiserations to them. And if they want a bit of support, they can come on over to Bournemouth instead and watch an exciting team.
You know what? I did. To be honest, I didn't pay much attention to such an insignificant game. To be fair, you know, it sounded like it was a load of fun. You know, what was the score again?
0-0. One shot on target, 10 shots each, basically. But yeah, one shot on target. So after all the build-up.
But both will still be in the Championship come the end of May, I think. See
yeah,
what
it's looking like it.
there?
Yeah, I don't think Southampton are going to come straight away again.
No, not in a million years. Not in a million years. But yeah, there we are. They better get used to the Championship. But at least they've got their local rivals. You know.
Yeah, they get the derby they wanted. Now,
Yeah,
plenty of 0-0 results. I'm sure they'll go.
Yeah, they kept moaning. They didn't like the derby against us. You know, maybe we're just too good. You know, Southampton fans. I'm sorry to say it, but I tell you what, that is going to be the topic of today's show as well. And you know, an interesting topic here: are AFC Bournemouth better this season than they were last season? I want all your comments in the comment sections as well. We might have sold Dean Howson. We might have sold Ilya Zabania. We might have sold Dango. Sorry, Sean, to bring that one up. Kepa might have gone to Arsenal. Kirkez has gone to Liverpool. But has Andoni actually turned AFC Bournemouth into a better side? I'm going to give my honest opinions. Sean, I've thrown you at the deep end. I didn't tell you what it was all about, probably on purpose as well, because I want to hear your raw thoughts. But I'll tell you what, let's go through the comment section. So you've got a little bit of time to just collect what you're going to say. Chris Hubble has said, morning everyone, up the cherries. Morning, Chris, hope you're doing well. Paul Sant has said, good morning everyone. Good morning, Chris. Good morning to Paul Sant, hope you are doing well. Darren Hurst, morning Chris, the Battle of the Beaches derby was an awesome show of grit and determination. Yes. I am questioning what beach. Does Hayland Island count? No, Hayling Island's in Hayling Island. Sorry, Portsmouth, you can't take that one. Is there a beach by? You can't have the Isle of Wight, Southampton, because that
Yeah,
you've
no.
got to go over a bit of water for that. You know, um, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know the area well enough. Surprisingly, I ain't visited that much.
No, no, same here. To be honest, I'd say that I probably visited Southampton more than Portsmouth, but only because of the close proximity. So yeah, and even then, I need a bath afterwards when I get home. And then he said, "Good day, Paul," as
Good
well
day.
as Darren. Paul Santa said, "Morning to Darren. It's a great community we've got here. It's lovely." Malcolm Chiverton has said, "Good morning, Cherries fan. Hope you are all well." Good morning, Malcolm. Hope you are
Morning.
doing well. Paul Santa said, "Is Semenyo the best player ever to play for Bournemouth? Certainly the best player since being in the Prem." I would say he's up there. You know how much I love Antoine Semenyo, but would I say he's the overall best player? I wouldn't say so. In terms of talent and potential, I think even though he played here for a season or literally half a season, I would put Dean Howson as the player with the most potential. Ilyas Barnier is not far behind him either. They're in the Nathan Ake category. But Semenyo, albeit a little bit far back with regards to terms of potential, I think is very, very consistent. Is he the best ever player to play for Bournemouth? There we are.
I'd put him on. If you go through all the players, I would
Mhm.
honestly put him as the best player ever on his day. On his day, I think even compared to Nelson, Ake, and I think Semenyo would win on his day.
Yeah.
But that's part of when we done the preview. And that is that consistency is what I
Mhm.
was looking for this season. So
Are we judging on terms of talent though? Because there is players as well who I would turn around and say the likes of Steve Cook, Simon Francis, Tommy Elphick, um, Andrew Sermon, Dan Goslin. All these players were massive parts of these football club and the journey of even bloody getting here in the first place. I honestly would put those players right up at the very top. And I think it would take a lot, in my mind, to shift them. Now, don't get me wrong, I absolutely love Antoine Semenyo. I think the man has got strength, he's got pace, he cuts in the inside, cuts in the outside. He is an all-round great footballer. Is he one of the best? He's up there. He's up there for me.
I mean,
But
if you would say Rose the highest, I would say considering raising and that, you gotta go Harry Arter. I
yes,
mean, considering where he came from
how
and
did
all
I
that.
forget Harry? Well,
Pardon?
how did I forget Harry in that list of names that I gave there?
Because
You
we got
know,
him from non-league, wasn't it? Or
yes,
yeah,
yes, we did.
non-league,
Yeah,
and then get him
yeah,
to the Premier League. I mean, you can't do any bigger jump than that.
Woking for about 40,000. Let's look at it this way. Mark Pugh. Mark Pugh was always consistent in the top flight. Mark Pugh, one of my favourite players of all time, signed by from Hereford United. I think, and Matt might be able to correct me on this. I'm sure it was down to a tribunal. How much we actually signed him for. I
Yeah, one of
believe
them was.
out of contract, and of course, he's a lot younger at that time. I'm sure it comes down to a tribunal, but don't quote me. It's a long, long time ago now. But another
Oh, stop
great.
making me feel old.
Oh, tell me about it. Tell me about it. What a player! What a player! And I'll tell you what, he's still doing stuff on the Foodie Footballer. Do go and check it out if you haven't already. Chris Hubble said, "Morning, Paul. Good morning, Chris. Hope you're doing well." Paul from Oz
Well,
said, "Morning, everyone. 90 degrees and sunny in Oz today. Come on, you Reds." Paul from near Sydney. Yes, definitely, most definitely. Chris Hubble has said hi to Darren. Liam Humby has said good morning, everyone. Up the cherries. Good morning, Liam.
okay.
Chris Hubble has said morning back to Liam. We're going to go through all these. Morning, Chris. How are you,
I've just got
Liam?
to here 30 seconds. I'll go on the screen 30 seconds. I'll be right back. You carry on.
Oh, he's disappearing. I'll carry on through the comments for the second. Dan Short said, "Morning, Craig and Sean. Well done to the Cherries men and ladies. Hamworthy United and Paul Town. So both seem to have got a result. Yeah, some very sad news actually. I didn't realise this until a lot later. Rest in peace, Ricky Hatton. That really signifies how mental health is a massive, massive, massive thing. Ricky Hatton, a great boxer. I remember him, fighting, wasn't it, Floyd Mayweather Jr. back in 2006, 7. He did lose that fight, but I tell you what a battler. And it really signals why men's mental health is such an important thing, that we need to look after each other. And hey, if anybody's watching and isn't being kind this morning, be kind. You don't know what the other person is going through. So there we are. That is what I live by. And rest in peace, Ricky. As Dan says there. Malcolm says, too early to say after only having played 4 games. I'm going to bring it up. Honestly, I'm getting a little bit above myself, a bit above my station. I will bring it up, but I tell you what, yeah, you are probably right. You are probably the voice of reason here on this channel. It is only 4 games, and I need to possibly be wheeled back in a little bit.
Well, I think I will when you hear me then.
I might let you go first. Dan Short says 100% yes. I think they might get a Europa League spot this season. Darren Hurst said, when I mentioned the Battle of the Beaches, I meant Brighton versus Bournemouth, not in the slightest interest in Southampton and Portsmouth. Yes, of course, the Battle of the Beaches. Sorry, I do get it now. Although saying that, Brighton's is a little bit stony. But yeah, we have got the beach, we have got the football, we've got everything. There we are. The seagulls fly off back home. Yeah, Southampton, Portsmouth. Enjoy the championship, guys. Oxford United next week, is it?
I got a feeling it is.
Yeah. Dan Short said, Eddie Howe Derby next week. Yes, I can't wait, actually. Can't wait for that one. Would Eddie get the best welcome back from AFC Bournemouth fans next weekend? Oh,
No.
most definitely. Most definitely. Yeah, he's got to. He has to. Honestly, Eddie Howe is an absolute legend in my eyes. In my household, Eddie Howe is God. We wouldn't be here. We wouldn't be enjoying Andoni Iraola if it wasn't for Eddie Howe. We would probably be enjoying Maidenhead United away. And let's be honest, nobody wants to go to Maidenhead, especially on a night out. So yeah, there we are. As you can tell, I think.
Just double checking, we ain't lost to Eddie beside in the cup, have we?
We haven't.
Double checking?
No, it's only the cup. It's only the cup. So hopefully that run continues. I'm sure Eddie's a little bit worried. Big shout out for our new 18-year-old. Most definitely.
Have you got used to the name?
Yes, I've actually learned how to say it. It's Veljko Milosakovic.
Yeah, I'm just going Velko.
Veljko Milosakovic. Thank you. With regards to the pronunciation, who told me that. Good morning, Craig and Sean. Good morning, Doug. Hope you're doing well. Liam is having a conversation with Chris Humby and says, I'm good, thank you, Chris. You? And Chris said that he's very, very well. Paul Santa said 2 great boxers to lose in a week. Yes, most definitely. And Doug has put very sad news about Ricky Hatton. Man United are so bad. The defending for that 3rd goal was awful. Yes, 100%. 100%.
I watched the Burnley Liverpool game and not I think glimpses of the Man U game.
Man United are shit, put nicely. To be honest, they are an absolute travesty under Ruben Amorim. I just don't know where they're gonna go next. Really, I just think they just seem a complete and utter mismatch of players. They have no identity. Yeah, I think it's quite funny, to be perfectly honest, but Man United fans probably don't. So yeah,
I don't know where you guys put Man U. I know a lot of people on other channels now still would put Man U in the far top half, but
for a million years.
I still put them in the what did I put them? About 15th, I think I put them for.
Well, they're
You know,
14th at the moment.
the way the promoted teams have done so far, then
You say that though.
could
You
be a good
say
mix up this season.
you do say that. I think. Well, Leeds are on the same amount of points. Sunderland are on 7 points, just behind ourselves. We're in fourth. What in yeah, I can't even spit it out. It's incredible. But we are fourth in the Premier League. And wow, absolutely unbelievable.
Did you
Um,
watch the Burnley game?
I tell you what, Burnley pushed close.
They were
Burnley,
unlucky. They should have got a draw out of that game.
yeah. Liverpool are just, they seem to pull it out of the bag, and that's the second time Burnley have done that. Of course, they played Manchester United, got beat by Manchester United. It was a last minute thing. To be honest, Man United should actually be, you know, on the same amount of points as Aston Villa at this point in time. In all honesty, they should be on the same amount of points as Aston
Mm.
Villa because Burnley should have got a draw. If not, they were the better side in that game as well. Um, yeah, Manchester United under Ruben Amorim. I think they should give him a. I think they should give him a longer contract. Actually, Doug, do you think Ruben Amorim deserves, a new 5-year shiny deal at Manchester United? You know, just let us know. I think he should. I think that it should be written up. Rumours that Brighton fans are divided over Hurstler. Hold that thought. Hold that thought because we'll come to Brighton because I really like Fabian Hurstler, but at the same time, there has been a little bit of a dip this season. Darren Hurster said Milo the Savage. Um, that was embarrassing dive by Kirkes. Kirkes booked and injured, subbed early on the 38th minute by Liverpool on Sunday. And Doug replies, yeah, that was an embarrassing dive by Kirkes. Slot took him off because he's ruthless and he could have been sent off. Yeah, most definitely.
Well, what do you think of Kirk since he's left us performances? I mean, I've only
He
seen
was
him a few times, but he's been
excellent
pretty
against
poor every
Arsenal.
time.
Oh, he was excellent against Arsenal. Absolutely
Oh, I didn't see
outstanding.
that one.
He was absolutely outstanding. So yeah, very, very, very good. I think Haaland has played 5 games for club and country and scored 10 goals. Yes, and Doug agrees with me. Amorim, give him a new contract. 5 years. Yeah, he is doing an absolute sterling job at Manchester United. They might win something next year, that being the championship. Although saying that, they might not even win that, to be fair. They might have to wait until League One. There we are. I tell you what, let's go back to our further point because, of course, we are 4 games in. We have got 3 wins and a defeat. That defeat come against champions Liverpool in their first game, back after winning the title. Of course, it was an emotionally charged game because of what happened during the summer with Diego Jota, God rest his soul. And, I think that, what we have done so far this season is phenomenal. I know the Wolves game wasn't particularly very good, but you look at, beating Brighton, and then, of course, going to Spurs. You know, a lot of fans before this season would have kicked off would have looked at those first 4 games and gone, well, Spurs is a winnable game. However, nobody really realised how good Thomas Frank was going to start the season. You look at Liverpool, we didn't really expect anything in there and we didn't get anything there anyway. But then you look at Wolves and Brighton. Wolves were expected to improve. Brighton were expected to be better than what they were the last season. And we've got 9 points. So the question is, and the big question is AFC Bournemouth now better than what it was last season, Sean?
Well, I think they are better than last season. I mean, the most impressive thing is that obviously when Andoni came in and that, it took time for players to get used to the system and all that kind of stuff. But you think Diakite came in after 2 days of training, looked like he's been here all year.
Yeah,
Yesterday, Velko, he came in and again, he looked like he's been here for a year. I
yeah,
think that's, beside the talent like Trofeo, I think he's better than Kirkes and all this. The most impressive thing about this team is how we've got these new players so late, yet they've just stepped in straight away. And we got so many. I mean, didn't have even Diakite on the bench. Obviously, he was injured in there. But you look at that
yeah.
bench, so much strength in there and that compared to last season. And yeah, I was going for European place, but only bottom part of Europe place. But the honest truth is, this way you probably have to reel me back in. I'm going more higher, maybe sixth, fifth. I mean, I say with the newly promoted teams already getting points in that, City dropping, already got a few losses, United, oh well. And yeah, Villa down there. There's so many teams, and this is getting so shook up. But we're got so much quality, so much depth. I think this could be our season to at least get a European spot and hopefully a higher European spot.
I don't disagree at all. And I don't think I need to reel you back in, because I think how we played on, Saturday. Now, don't get me wrong, Brighton are a very, very good side. And just to touch upon that, Fabian Hertzler, I think he's a very, very good manager. You know, he reads the game very well. He tried to change the game that second half when they come back out. They got an early equaliser. To be honest, James Hill lost his man at the back post a bit. Shows a little bit of naivety, that, but at the same time, I think that Hill did, a very, very good job in that right back position. Other than that, but Fabian Hertzler changed it up a little bit after half time. But Andoni responded again. We went a little bit more direct, a little bit more forceful. We controlled the game, controlled the ball, and slowly we got that momentum back. Um, Brighton are a very, very good side. Brighton are going to be top half, and then we've gone and got 3 points at our place against them, which we didn't do last season. We got a grand total of zilch from Brighton, and that's because they are such a good team. They are Brighton. Sometimes you've got to give credit to the opposition, and they are a very, very talented, skillful, clever team. Full of great youngsters, but also players like James Milner, who offers that old head. Getting 3 points against them, and as Paul says here, Paul from Oz says here, Andoni said he was trying to get points from games we didn't last season. 100%. We have got a really good start here. If we had this start last season, under Andoni Iraola, we would have been playing European football this year, without a shadow of a doubt. We've got the start that we've always wanted. We've got the start, and we're not always playing the same sort of football. We're adapting, we're changing ourselves. I always say, and I've said about Andoni Iraola's sides, that, we shouldn't need to actually be, change our style to benefit the other team. You know, we should be able to dictate exactly how we're going to play a game of football. And we have. We have. But at the same time, we've been able to adapt it. When Brighton started in that second half, they turned the screw a little bit. If we had stuck at what we was doing, we probably would have lost that game. However, Andoni made those slight tweaks. We got ourselves back. The penalty, I thought it was, from the watching it live, I thought it was weak. It wasn't weak in the end. Of course, it was the furthest side of the pitch from where we were. So I thought additionally it was weak, but absolutely outstanding result against what are going to be a very, very, very solid team this year, isn't it, Sean?
Yeah. With the penalty, I'd say that I think it was a clear penalty, first of all, but he was looking for the penalty. That's the only thing I would say on it.
Yeah,
he was looking for it, but it was a clear penalty as well. So it's one of those. It's good skill by him and that. As I say, his work around that, he's always been brilliant and that. And was you a little bit surprised with Semenyo's one stepping up, or?
I guess so. I guess he might have been, but Semenyo, showed just pure confidence. Sent Bart Verbruggen the wrong way. I think that's how you say it. Is it Verbruggen? Verbruggen? Sent him the wrong way. To be honest, I'm not even bothered with the pronunciation of Brighton players. Sorry, Brighton fans. Sent him the wrong way. And I tell you what, very, very confident. I honestly think that we are a better side this season, regardless of losing Dean House and Ilya Zabania, Milos Kerkez, Kepa, Dango. I think, what we have done in the transfer market has actually been, compensated for the losing those players. Something that nobody would ever have thought of. I think what we've done is absolutely outstanding job so far. And I honestly think that Europe, we're ready this time round. You look at the bench, you look at the strength in depth. I think we're ready.
Yeah.
It is going to take a strain on the squad if we get into Europe, and for next season we'll have a bigger stadium. Of course, some of the works will be done, but yeah, I think we will be right up there, and to get a European place, even if it's the Europa Conference League, I take it with both hands. But it might even be better than that.
I mean, I'll say if you go through thinking the Champions League, you'd say top 5 places. It's usually we've got so many teams in Europe. I think it'll be top 5 places. Got Chelsea, Arsenal, Liverpool. Beyond that, the other 2 places, I really don't know. You would have said Villa. Look where they are, and Forest. Obviously, they after last season not so brilliant, and City already losing 2 games and that. So yeah, it's only 4 games in, but if you said who's going to get those, if it's 5 Champions League places, I can name 3. Well, I can't name the other 2.
That's very true. If it goes down to the 5th spot, could we even get in the Champions League? It would be incredible. Playing Real Madrid in an actual competitive match, not that friendly that we played all those years ago.
Or do you guys think we need to be reeled in a bit?
To be honest, it's great to dream. It's great to dream, and I think it's possible. It's possible. I even said to my dad, at the weekend, and of course he's a Reading fan, and I said, Bournemouth are only 1 or 2 players away from doing something incredible. You think, and you've seen teams how they've, got. It's where we find these players from. It's how we're signing players for literally in relative terms next to nothing, implementing them into our style of play, and I don't think it's going to take much for us to do something absolutely incredible. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't think we're going to do a Leicester City, but the equivalent of our Leicester City would be actually getting into Europe. So it's incredibly exciting times. And why shouldn't we dream? Why shouldn't we start believing, start thinking that we can do this? I'm with you.
Mm.
I'm not being
Yeah,
real. Not
I
being
say
real.
every few years, you usually get a surprise, whether it's Forest getting into Europe, whether it's Leicester winning the league. I say go back in time, Wigan winning the FA Cup, I think I remember. And there's through the years, every few years or so, there's a surprise that people don't expect to do so well. Maybe we can be that team that does the surprise over everyone.
Tell you what, I know a name for that show when we get the Champions League. From Morecambe to Madrid. You know, I don't even know who sang that song, but it was an absolute atrocious song. I think it was Paris to Berlin, wasn't it? It was like one of those
Yeah, past
crazy songs.
Berlin.
Yeah, you know, whatever. I'm going to be embarrassed when I actually listen to who it was, but you know, I remember it from all the club scene that you know at the time you know back in the early noughties. Yeah, from Morecambe to Madrid. There you go. That's sticking. That's sticking. Dan Short has said Howson got sent off for Real Madrid. Yes, yes, Dean Howson got his marching orders for Real Madrid. However, still doing a fantastic job for that football club, and I think he's going to the very, very, very top. You know, it'll be exciting to see what he actually wins. Be exciting to see what all these players that left us win. I think Ilyas Barnier is going to be nailed on for the French league. You know, I think Dean House will probably win La Liga and possibly a Champions League. And, you know, Milos Kerkez, unless AFC Bournemouth win the Premier League, I think he might win the Premier League. You know, we're going to do it, Sean. Don't worry. Don't worry. We're doing a
Yeah,
Leicester.
easy.
Yeah, we're doing Leicester.
You put a pound
He's
bet on.
yeah, I might go down the bookies today. Just put that pound on. I wonder how much you get. Actually, that's an interesting one. I wonder
Well,
how
it
much you
would have been
get.
interesting at the start of the season if you put on more. You would have got.
Yeah, the odds have probably gone down. You know, I'll start having to pinch myself some more. Um, Paul Santa said, agree with Sean, top six. Yeah, I think top six is very, very doable. You look at Spurs, you know, everybody was raving about. We went and beat them, and we should. And to be honest, 1-0 was flattering for Spurs. You know, it should have been 2 or 3. It flattered them. Um, Chris Hubble said, I agree with you, Sean. Get top six would be great. Yes, most definitely. Darren Hurst said sixth to ninth, depending on booking suspensions and injuries. Yeah, that's one thing we got to keep in mind. But, you know, hey, we're just getting really excited here at Up the Cherries in all departments. You
I
know,
mean,
this
it's
is,
amazing how strong we are in when we've been playing these games. How dominant we are.
yeah,
I think it's been consistently dominant on most of the teams.
worst game so far this season was probably Wolves. You know, even at Liverpool, we played a better game of football. Wolves was probably the weakest, but still, we got the 3 points against them. You know, against Spurs, we were pretty much unplayable for Spurs. You know, like I say, 1-0 flattered Spurs. And, you know, Brighton come here with real impetus, with real determination. They'd just beaten Manchester City as well, and we went and beat them. It was never going to be easy, and no game this season is going to be easy. You know, it's the Premier League, but I tell you what, you know, to get 3 points against Brighton, you know, off the back of that, onto 9 in the Champions League spots in fourth. Hey, it's great. It's great.
It's
Darren
showing how
Hurst.
we can adapt as well, and that's the main
Well,
thing.
exactly,
Low
exactly.
block, high block, all this kind of stuff, and we played a variety, and we've adapted each time.
Darren's made a very good point here. Evan Nielsen does so much more than other than just score. His collection and his deft touches to play the ball are sublime. Yeah, I agree with that completely. Evan Nielsen might not be that player who is prolific, that prolific goal scorer, but we've got goals all over the pitch. We've got Semenyo, we've got Justin Kluivert when he's back. You know, we've got Ryan Christie, we've got all these players. Alex Scott, what a goal! What a goal against Brighton. Bloody brilliant goal. You know, we have got so much talent all over that pitch that in all honesty, you know, it doesn't matter that Evan Nielsen is not a prolific goal scorer. You know, he will still get us a good 10, 12 goals a season. But, you know, if other players are scoring at the moment, which they are, you know, Semenyo, you know, keep him down. You know, at the end of the day, Semenyo just keeps going. You know, what can you say? What can you say? The first injury Brighton got after 22 seconds was self-inflicted after he pulled back. Evan Nielsen back on the break, fell badly, injured himself and landed on Evans' hand. Served him right. Paul from Oz. Yeah, I think he twisted his ankle, didn't he? So, yeah, I saw that. I felt a bit sorry for the guy because at the end of the day, you know, I could tell it was an ankle twist, but, you know, it was a poor tackle. Newcastle are going to be knackered. They have Barcelona on Thursday night. Yes, they
Do they?
do.
Oh,
They do.
only Barcelona. Easy.
Only Barcelona. Only Barcelona. It's going to be interesting. Is everything getting teed up for a Cherries win? Hopefully. Darren Hurst said, good point, Dan. Let's take it to the black and white Toon army. Yes, most definitely. Paul from Oz said, is Christie injured? Oh, yes, he is, of course. He is injured. But, you know, against last season, you know, he will score goals. He will create things. He will, you know, he's a talent, such a great player. That's a player, you know, of course, when he comes back, you know, I would. Ryan Christie is a player that really should be getting in our first team without fail. But you can't change a winning side. You can't change this side at the moment. Justin Cliver as well. It's a great problem to have. Um, Darren Hurst has said Brooks will score a few more. Adley also, yes, most definitely. Although saying that, Andoni did change that win inside and got another win. So, yeah, it goes to show. But I tell you what, let's move away from the men's game because I could bleat on till next year with regards to how good we are at the moment, how confident I am, how excited I am, how much we're going to get into Europe, what we're going to do. You know, are we going to win, you know, the Premier League? No, let's not get too far ahead of ourselves, you know. But I tell you what, let's
Wait a
go
few more
on.
weeks.
Yeah, give it a couple more weeks. You know, let Liverpool tail off. Sorry, Doug, if you're in the chat. But no, we're not going to kid ourselves. We're not unrealistic here at the Cherries and all departments. We just dream. But I tell you what, let's talk about a team that might win the league and have started the season really, really, really well, and that's Bournemouth's women's team. Go on, Sean. Take it away.
Yeah, just keeping another win on the go. They played Gwalia, which was originally Cardiff City. It was the last team that we lost to in the league on the it's doing off by heart, on the 23rd of March 2023, if I remember. So that makes it now 925 days without losing in the league. We won 3-0 against them. Sophie Quirk scored 2, Jenna Markham scored 1, but that makes it 7 goals and 6 for Sophie Quirk. So she's doing absolutely amazing since she's come in from Portsmouth, I think it was.
Yeah.
Apparently, I wasn't there. I was hoping to go to, but it sounded like there was a lot of wind and rain up in Wales, so
It's
didn't
always
get too
raining.
wet.
It's always raining in Wales. Just ask Ollie. But what an achievement, you know, and the team go from strength to strength, even though, you know, of course, Steve Cuss left the club, you know, or left the women's team at least. But, you know, I think how they keep going, how they're playing, how they're performing, you know, it's not going to be long, you know, at this rate before they're going to be in the top flight of women's football. You know,
Yeah, it'll make it a lot easier when I'm trying to work out stats and that, because I thought
yeah.
Watford and Lewis got relegated from the Championship last season,
Mhm.
but I'm 90% sure now. The problem is, obviously, with men's, we've never had to worry about the Southern and Northern Conference, how the promotion and all that works and that.
Yeah.
Obviously, I do have to with the women, and it's throwing me off completely. I'm still not 100% sure. Even if you go to the men's, where you got the Southern and Northern Conference, each of them get promoted, and then I don't know how National League, how many gets relegated or that. Because I heard that with the women, this current one, in the third tier, the Southern and North, the top teams from each one gets promoted, but at the moment, one team from the Championship gets relegated for 2 years now. So I think it's all part of the problem is with the women, they're expanding so much so quickly in that.
Yeah.
The leagues, the names, the amount of teams and that, it's getting changed every couple of years and that at the moment. So yeah, trying to find that information makes it a bit on the tricky side. But you know what? If we keep winning, I say 925 days without a loss in the league, I don't mind just doing it. So let's keep it going. Hopefully, we can get to that 1,000. I've got to work out. I was going to do that today. Work out when it's going to be 1,000 days. See if we've got a game on that particular day. I know still got 70 days to go, but you never know.
Well, the women are literally, 2 steps away from the Women's Super League, which, is, well, of course, the Super League was the name of, the competition that, the top 6 tried to create, but what an achievement it would be to get in there and to be playing at the very highest level against the likes of Everton. Of course, they're playing at Goodison Park, the second biggest ground, I should say, in there, because I believe that Arsenal still play at the Emirates, don't they, their women's team?
Yeah,
So
I play there. So I've
yeah.
seen that. I think it's going to get more common. We'll probably end up doing it. That the women's team are moving into the men's ground as well as sharing. It's happening, I say, in a few teams, Everton, Arsenal, I think Reading maybe, but I think there's a few teams that
Yeah.
might be doing it, so I think it's the way it's going.
Well, why not? Why not? I think it would be absolutely brilliant. I think it would be absolutely brilliant. If we can get in there, and we are marching away towards it. If we can get, over the line this season, be in the second tier. So yeah, very, very good. Paul from Oz has said Bournemouth odds to win the Premier League is 400 to 1.
Oh, might put a pound on that.
Yeah, might put a pound on that. And the Women's Super League, Craig, is the biggest league. There we go. And Darren's putting on 20 Aussie dollars. There we
Oh,
are.
someone's rich.
There we are. There we are. Well, I tell you what, I think that's all we've got time for today. Please, everybody, hit the like, hit the subscribe, hit the bell button below. Oh, go
I
on,
just
Sean.
wanted to say one thing though.
Go for it.
With the women's team quickly. The next game is against Cheltenham at Ringwood, 2:00 Sunday next week. Quick bit of history on that. Last season, we won the FA Women's National League plate, and it was actually against Cheltenham. So Cheltenham will be looking for a bit of revenge after losing the Plate Cup last season.
Well, there we are. There we are. Fingers crossed we can get, keep beating them. And, hopefully another, great result for the women coming up. But of course, we're on to Newcastle at the end of this week, or be it Sunday. Thank you so much for joining us, Paul. Like I say, hit the like, hit the subscribe, hit the bell button below. Massive thank you to our sponsors, Dental on the Banks, who are sponsoring us for another season. So thank you to Damon and the team there as well. But thank you again to everybody for watching. Up the cherries. Enjoy your Monday. Enjoy your week. We'll see you tomorrow morning, early doors. See you then.
Yeah.
The TalkSport Fan Network.
The ultimate on-demand destination for the UK's best fan-led football podcasts.
Want authentic supporter insight on all things Bournemouth? Follow Up the Cherries in all departments on the TalkSport Fan Network.
Club-dedicated content created by the fans, for the fans.
Search TalkSport Fan Network.
I should be like you, Mel.